Hi, welcome to Charlene's Vision, another episode of Kiss the Frog. I'm glad to be here. We've been having so many episodes and having so much fun talking about dating and dating sites. And we had a couple of episodes out there. Wouldn't you say, Ed?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So this is just another one of those comfortable shows. And we're just coming to just provide you with some more information. This one is just going to be more of dating sites. There's plethora of dating sites right now. We're not, of course, not going to go through all of them, right? Mm-hmm. But we're going to go through some of the popular ones, the ones that are people on. So definitely, I'm going to talk about Match first. So Ed, what do you think about Match?
Well, Match is one of the more popular ones that are out there right now. And, you see, there's a lot of TV commercials on that. I always hear it like on the radio or on TV. And I'm like, wow, they're really pushing it hard. And I know a lot of people who have met on Match, and some people who got married on Match. And when you talk about dating sites, I don't know if it's one of the first ones, but it's definitely one of the first more popular ones that came out years ago.
I have to agree. I am attracted to Match myself. I have been on Match, so I definitely come from personal experience. And I like Match, but there's a lot of other ones out there that I know other people have been on. Let's talk a little bit about the pricing. The pricing for Match was pretty good.
Yeah, you looked into that. What do you know roughly what the price range was in that?
So it was like mid-range. It wasn't that expensive and it wasn't that cheap. The longer you're on, they definitely try to reduce the price. And of course, and they also have some specials too. So sometimes near Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah.
Near Valentine's Day, so you definitely don't have someone for Valentine's. So they're really good with promotions. And not just with promotions, they definitely have some good sites. So it's something that's affordable. Mm-hmm. I like that. And so that's definitely good. And it definitely have some type of, one thing I did notice about that is that sometimes that just because you're on Match, you actually could be on other sites as well. That's something I actually found out.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. But the first thing I'll say about Match is I think Match is geared to people who really want like serious relationships. And we'll talk about some comparisons with Match, like eHarmony and Zeus. And we'll get in that in a couple seconds. But the mid-price rate point, I think for Match, you're probably looking, I don't know, depending if you go 1 month. And by the way, all these websites, if you can get them for 1 month at a time, 3 months, 6 months, a year, obviously the longer you're on there for, the cheaper it is. But I think Match is probably somewhere between like $15 to $30 a month, somewhere in that area probably.
Right, it could be. But one thing about this website Match that I found out is that is a subscription. Now guess what? If you do not cancel, guess what? It just go over to the next 6 months. So you got to be careful with that. And that's one thing, if you're not paying attention, next thing you know, you might have someone already and you comes to find out you're actually still being billed. And that's one thing they love about subscriptions is that it goes over automatically. So be careful with that.
So Charlene, I want to ask you a question. So a lot of times people will compare Match to eHarmony.
Oh my goodness.
So tell me about, we both tried eHarmony in our past lives before. Tell me about your experience with eHarmony and what you thought about it.
I've been on eHarmony for about 5 minutes. So basically, when I went on eHarmony, it was like they ask you everything. Like, what is your name? What is this? What is that? What religion you have? Like, I don't want to be telling people my religion at that time. So it's so lengthy that it feels like 10, 15 minutes.
How long did it take you to do that?
Maybe a day?
Half an hour. I think it took me a half an hour, 45 minutes when I was originally doing it. And the whole purpose is they're trying to come up with an algorithm to really like get you great matches. But let's face it, no matter how much AI you have, and I applaud them to try to be a little different, but it was so long, you kind of lose interest. And at the end of the day, there's only so many people in your area that are going to be available.
Exactly, and I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree because sometimes you filling out all of that information, and the next, it turns you off. Don't you know, I really have not completed eHarmony. I was like, this it's just too much. I do not have the patience.
I think it's more expensive too. And another thing is, again, please find out for yourself. We're just going by like kind of what we know.
Exactly.
But basically, eHarmony is probably geared to even for marriage, probably more. Really, somebody who wants to find that love of their life. Match can be more of a relationship. Let's see how it goes. eHarmony definitely has a little bit more serious twist in it. So if you're looking for marriage, I think that's a little bit more conducive to that.
Yeah.
But between the two, it's definitely more expensive, I think,
definitely
too,
more
right?
expensive. Yeah, you spend all of that time filling that out, and then they want to charge you an arm and a leg. It's like, it's way too much. So definitely, I did not complete it. And one thing about eHarmony, and it is definitely more strict, because I think when I went on, you have to be completely divorced. You can't be like, I'm in the process, but I didn't get my papers yet. No, they're going to say, well, you do not qualify, which is like, oh, okay. And even though the papers is coming in the mail and you're almost complete with that, no, it doesn't work that way.
So,
it has to be that you got to be completely single.
So let's talk about, because we're talking about like more of the premium ones that are out there. So I'm going to mention one. I know you don't have as much background in this, but I want to mention to you. And it's called Elite Singles. And what that is, Elite Singles. I know it sounds kind of like, where are we, Elite Singles? It's pretty expensive. I believe it's anywhere from like $32 to $60 a month. But what it's meant for is for people with professional careers to kind of find each other. So if you're looking for, say you're a vice president of human resources or something like that, and you want to try to find somebody who also has an executive type job, you'd want to like find somebody in the corporate world. You're not interested in somebody who's working like at a local store. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You're just trying to find another professional that understands your lifestyle, because that lifestyle can be pretty busy when you have an executive job.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
but sometimes
go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting, because sometimes you can find someone like that, but then sometimes, what about somebody who's growing into that, professional lifestyle? And I can use myself as an example, like when we first met, I became vice president, but I wasn't vice president at the time. So sometimes stuff like that could be confusing. And then of course it's like, you just want, I guess it has to definitely deal with money, right? You want somebody to make a certain amount of money.
So
I don't want to making any pennies. Anyone making $30,000.
So,
it has to be someone that's making maybe 80 to 100.
Yeah, let's keep it real, right? I hate to say this, but of course some people are thinking, well, I make more 6 figures. I want to meet somebody that's comparable. But also, too, there is another side to this besides money. When somebody's like, say, executive, a lot of times they're working 6 or 7 days a week.
Exactly.
They're doing long hours. It's a lifestyle for them that other people who maybe are blue collar or in a different situation may not be compatible with that lifestyle. So they're looking for somebody that understands and can balance with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be a little bit of money too. But so those are the like higher end ones. I want to shift gears and talk to you about some of the lower end ones, like not lower, but like
Bumble,
like Tinder, Bumble, and Plenty of Fish. So talk to me a little bit about, like, say, Tinder. Let's start with that one.
So Tinder is something, if you don't know anything about it, Tinder is definitely inexpensive. It's something that doesn't cost a lot, which is great. Of course, they already got the free version, but guess what? I definitely started out on Tinder, just to be honest. And it's like, maybe if you just want to get together with someone and hook up, so you need to do your research. And sometimes you have something that shows that short-term relationships, and you say long-term relationships, but I really think a lot of it is like hookup. It's just like a site just to hook up with someone, and that's basically what they do.
So you didn't know that right off the bat, so you had to learn the hard way. Nobody told you that one.
No one told me that.
And again, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Charlene, but you can meet somebody very nice. I know people who met their long-term relationship. It's a little bit more geared. I guess they're trying to change that a little bit, but originally it was kind of meant to find somebody they quickly go on a date with and have a good time. Blah,
and
blah,
even
blah.
when you meet someone, and even though they on 10 and you tell them you're looking for long-term, in their mind they're not looking for long-term.
No.
So it's pretty.
You got to be very careful. Another one is like Plenty of Fish. Now, Plenty of Fish years ago started off. It was worldwide. To start off free. I don't know if they quite have a free option anymore. I think it's low cost. So it's kind of similar to Tinder in a way where, but again, there's a lot of fake profiles. And what I found on Tinder and Plenty of Fish, there's a lot of inactive accounts that just stay on there. So you're liking people and hitting people that probably haven't been on the site for a year.
Wow.
So it's kind of hard, but.
Yeah, because I noticed on these sites, it's really sometimes hard to delete your profile. It took me forever to try to delete my profile because I didn't want it there. But they always say, hey, maybe you want to come back. So, we're going to just actually have you, it's going to be hidden. So the difference between hidden and deleting.
And there's a difference between, that's why like a lot of these searches that you'll find when you go on these websites, make sure you do the active, because there's a lot of people, they'll say, oh, we have 1 million members. Well, how many do you have active? 200,000?
Exactly.
So you want to make sure that you're really looking at last time they were online. And what about Bumble?
Bumble, I think I liked Bumble a little bit. I've been on that site as well. But I think the cost is definitely affordable for someone that's making, maybe around $50,000, $60,000. So it's definitely affordable for one. And then the other thing is that I think they all have some type of definitely similarities. So they all do the same. You have your photos up, you swipe, you like, or you do not, you dislike. So they all have those similarities. And sometimes you could find some good people on Bumble. You could find good people on all of them, right? And you could find some not so good people on all of them as well.
Now, what's interesting about the 3 that we mentioned is Bumble is slightly a little different than the other 2.
And how is that?
Okay, so Bumble's a little different where I believe you can, swipe and like each other, but the female has to be the first one to respond. So you could say like, but and you can have a mutual match. Like, so say you like somebody and they like you back, but the woman has to be the one that message you first.
Yes.
And if they don't, the time clock ends and you lose the contact.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I just realized about that site as well is like, you have a certain amount of time. So if somebody's like on vacation or just didn't pay attention, that time ends for that, which is pretty weird. I don't like that.
That's the only downside to it. I mean, in some ways it's good because it puts a control on the female side, but I guess that's some people say it's a little chauvinist, or what have you. I don't know. I kind of don't like that either. I think it should just be like follow the other rules. But again, there's so many dating sites out there. Do your research, because I think everybody's trying to find their little niche. Like there's one that's called coffee meets bagel or something like that, something similar to these. They're all trying to do like a different twist. Well, we have the best algorithm, we have the best search engine, we have the most people.
Right.
I think I don't know if I mentioned this one. I don't think I did already. Here's another one that's kind of like middle of the road. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called Zoosk. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Z-O-O-S-K.
No.
So it's kind of like,
Never.
it's not quite to the par of Match, but it's pretty close. I think they try to compare themselves. And that one, the price point is in between, like, say, a Tinder and a Match. It's kind of in between. It's an okay app. I tried it once. I really didn't care for it. A lot of fake profiles. And here's the thing, and Charlene, I want to get your input on this because I know you've been through this too. When you join a couple of these sites, you expect, oh, there's not many matches on there. There's not a lot of people on this one. Let me join another one. I'll be on 2 of them. And then you see the same people.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You definitely see the same people. You're on this one, you're like, hey, this person. Then it gets you to wonder, like, what is wrong with this person? Because it's like if you're on more than one, you start thinking in your mind, right, that this person can't find someone. But then again, you're on both too, right? So
well, it's funny because I've had friends who went on Match and eHarmony, or I forgot which one. I know eHarmony was one of them. And not to pick on eHarmony, but for whatever reason in that area, there really wasn't a lot of people for her to go on and look. So got frustrated and joined another site, hoping for a bigger pool of people.
Exactly.
But it wound up being where half the people, because I think everybody does that. Everybody hops from one to the other, hoping for a different pool, but really it's the same people.
Right.
So you don't spend a lot of money for nothing.
Yep, and one thing I like about most of the sites is like it is so easy to get an account and set up. You just get some great photos. They ask you about 5, 6 questions, and sometimes you don't even have to answer some of the questions, which some people leave blank, and then you question why they leaving that blank.
Yeah.
Some things they can leave blank, which is in eHarmony. No, you can't, everything you have is required. You have to fill out that information. Where in other ones you have the option to leave blank. Now let's just talk about some of the questions that they ask.
Oh, that's a good one before we get to other stuff. So, yeah, what are some? Do you have some of those, or do you want me to bring up a couple?
So I know one of them is definitely, do you want children? Like, if you're interested in children, because some people are and some people are not. So you definitely want, so that was one interesting one that always should be answered. But I like, I think that should be answered. Think of another one, Ed.
I know another one was, drugs. Do you like to take drugs? Or is it 420? Did I say that right? 420 friendly? I forgot the number.
I don't
You'll
know.
see I'm 420 friendly. People are like, what does that mean? It means I like to smoke pot or whatever it is.
I know.
Yeah, so those are questions. And again, if you're not familiar with some of this jargon, definitely Google stuff because, you'll see people put those things in their profile and that's what it means. It means, they like to do, are you okay with them, smoking marijuana occasionally or often?
Yep, and also like with alcohol too, they have like alcohol one, do you drink, and the other one that they always have on there, like, do you have children? You wouldn't know that.
Yeah, or do you want children, which is another one, because sometimes they'll say, I used to think it's funny because somebody would say, I'm still undecided, and I'm like, oh, I know at my age, I don't want to start over again. So I see
any more kids.
From a guy's perspective,
they want the answer.
If I see, somebody who says I'm undecided, I will, as a man, this is my personal opinion, I will interpret that as like, oh, I don't know. I won't rule them out, but I'll be cautious because they may still want kids.
Exactly.
So I have to really find out, well, what are you really feeling?
I know some people is like, I'm going with anyone over 50 years old. I know they can't have any kids because, there's no mistakes made, right? Sometimes people say it's undecided or they don't want kids. And then, oh, guess what? Accidents happen. So one to be sure, especially if you're the older one, you be 50 or 51. Usually that's our age, the age where we actually stop having kids. So.
What's the other one you mentioned was, religion. A lot of people don't put down, or some people don't want to know right away.
Exactly.
But what's interesting, there's one that, because I'm a Christian, so I put I'm Christian on there, but there's some people that put spiritual. And what I find sometimes when I talk to somebody or I'll find out they are really Catholic or Christian, but they just put spiritual down. But, sometimes that is a big deal for people. So, you want to make sure that if that's important to you, you want to make sure you get a good match. I'm trying to think of some other like
animals
big ones.
sometimes.
Oh, animals. Yeah, that's another one because some people are addicted to animals. Don't like it. Some people might have like 5 dogs and 5 cats. You're like, okay, well, how in the heck am I going to deal with that? I can't go anywhere if you got 5 dogs, or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's, and one good thing I do like as well is that the distance, right? They always have like, you don't want to talk to somebody that's like 3 hours away. So at least you have that range of, okay, this is how far I'm willing to travel. Maybe an hour.
Yeah.
I was willing to travel 3 hours.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of,
that's a joke.
A cautionary flag. Cautionary flag when somebody says, oh, I'll be willing to drive to you. I've had that happen a few times. I'm like, you're in Long Island. You're really going to drive to see me on a day. It's just not going to really work out.
But I think 2 hours, what you think is the maximum? How far would you drive?
Okay, so my personal opinion is an hour because, I may want to like go to dinner during the week or go somewhere during the week, not wait for the weekend.
Yeah.
So, hour there, hour back, that's 2 hours. You get up 4 o'clock, that's probably pretty good for me, would be about an hour. How about you? I'm curious. What would yours be?
Well, I think since I'm always used to driving 2 hours anyway, I think if you really like someone, and you're a great match, I'm willing to go maybe 2 hours. I think that would be the max. I think
you're spoiled right now with 20-something minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely spoiled. But definitely, I think I actually would do the 2 hours if it works, because sometimes, the one that you're compatible with is not as close as you want them to be.
And
right?
I think the important thing is what you just said. Find out what is your balance, and stick to it. I mean, if you're really willing to have a long distance relationship, that's fine, but be realistic, because it's very difficult afterwards if you get connected and you realize it's not going to work because of the distance. It can be very challenging.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one thing is that I think it takes some time. It's nothing that's going to fall right into your lap. You're definitely going to have to just take some time to definitely find someone that you like. So, but I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Which one you think is like one of the cheapest, the free ones? We have some free ones out there. So there's a free one. I know one you didn't mention yet.
So the one I know is, as far as I know, is absolutely free, but you have to have a Facebook account. There's Facebook dating.
Wow.
And what that is,
Facebook is into everything.
Yeah, it has everything. So it's just another like little side app feature that you can sign up for. You put your pictures. The person who's interested in you doesn't necessarily can see your profile, but of course you could try to do a search and try to figure it out. I like it because it shows if they have mutual friends.
Yeah.
You can talk to that person, or you can go on their profile and see from them. I like Facebook dating because you get a little bit more of like who they really are and their friends. Because when people sign up to these random dating sites, they can put whatever pictures they want. They could say I'm this type of person when really there's something else. So Facebook dating is free. It's a little bit more connected to maybe through a friend.
And that's what I did when I went into Bumble. What I did, the person name is kind of rare, so I actually Googled them on Facebook and found their photos to just do that compatibility just to see. But definitely, you know, you get the name, go on Facebook, go on Twitter, see what other social websites that they are on, so they definitely can have that.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that in our next episode with the safety tips, so make sure we bring that up as well. Another quick one, another free one, it's not really a dating app, but it's Meetups. Now, those are more in person, but there's plenty of dating groups. You can go to concerts. You can go hiking is a huge one.
I like that.
There's hiking.
Yeah.
There's games. There's movie nights. But there are ones that are just general for everybody.
Like
but there's ones for dating. And those are kind of nice because you're not there to meet a specific person. But those are free. You can go. And what's nice about it is when you go, you're having a good time. So say you go hiking. Well, you're going there to hike. If you happen to meet somebody, that's just icing on the cake.
Exactly. I definitely agree with that. That's always fun because you're not there looking for someone. You're out there just having fun. And that would be some icing on the cake if you happen to find. Because you're both like the same thing, right? So there's a possibility of that.
And I highly recommend it for people who are in their 40s or 50s or older that have not dated a long time. Say you recently got divorced or separated and you're a little anxious. Try the Meetups. Find something that you really like, whether it be a dating one, specific one or not, and get yourself out there. You get a chance to mingle and how it is to meet people, even if it's just platonic as a friend, and see how it goes. And then that maybe ease yourself into a dating site, you know, something a little bit more serious.
Yeah, even a relationship. But just to let you know, thank you for watching Charlene's Vision, Kiss the Frogs with Charlene and Ed. And if you have any questions, you can always hook up on us with what is it? KissTheFrogs.com. Until next time, watch the rest of our shows. Very interesting. You'll be an expert after you're done.
That's right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Riverview Apartments is Bristol's two-time beautification award-winning residence community for adults age 55 and older. They offer 1 or 2 bedroom apartments with modern appliances, air conditioning, wall-to-wall carpet, and tiled floors. Both heat and hot water are included. Riverview also offers a wide range of activity rooms that include a billiard parlor and a spacious community room. It is handicap accessible with safe, secure parking for tenants and ample off-street parking for visitors. 860-940-6757 or riverviewbristol.com.